Hello everyone, and welcome to my relatively new channel that is still relatively new at the time I am recording this. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I hand draw the flower of life with a compass. And this was recorded quite some time ago, and here I am finally uploading it. So I hope that you enjoy. It's a very unique process, which does require a fair amount of patience, but in the end, it is so rewarding and also very therapeutic too. So sit back, grab your favorite beverage, your favorite snack, light up your favorite incense, and watch me hand draw this while I do a voiceover narration talking about the flower of life and pretty much anything to do with life itself. Okay, so here we are. Got my compass, got my ruler. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out the width of the compass, which will be about an inch. And we just go with a steady hand gesture, just like that. For my first circle, and then for my second circle, go right on the edge, still maintaining the width of the compass pretty much throughout the whole session. And pretty much at this point, we're going to start center pointing the circles where each circle connects. So from here it's pretty straightforward. And right now we are starting from the middle, working outward. Starting from the seed of life, expanding into the flower of life. And if this video has found you, you're more than likely pretty much are already familiar with the flower of life pattern, as it has become more and more widely known and popular, especially within the spiritual community. And you see it pretty much everywhere these days, in jewelry and art, clothing, tattoos even. Although in my opinion, it is more than just a fashion trend. I know that there are many people out there who are going for the whole spiritual aesthetic, adorning themselves and their living spaces with designs such as this. And at the same time, I know that there are many people out there who have a true understanding of the significance of the flower of life and other sacred geometrical patterns. But the more you learn about sacred geometry and their connection with everything, it's actually quite fascinating. And personally, what I like to do with the flower of life is I like to use it as a crystal grid, and I like to use it as a platform to put my water or my tea on to help charge it up. One thing I notice is after I have my mug of water sitting on sacred geometry like the flower of life or even Metatron's cube, the water somehow even tastes a little sweeter. Try it for yourself sometime and see how that works for you. So what does the flower of life come from, and what are its origins? So the flower of life dates as far back as 645 BC, where it was discovered carved in the Assyrian palace of King Ashurbanipal, known as the last great king of Assyria. It was also found in the ancient Egyptian temple of Osiris and is said to contain a secret code that underpins the basic building blocks of the universe and life as we know it. And it has been theorized by many scientists that the flower of life is believed to illustrate the concept that all life in the universe originates from one singular source, known as the Big Bang Theory. And where am I getting this knowledge from? Well, in all honesty, I am just reading this off a website, but I will share the link to the website in the notes down below. Anyhow, so you know, this whole process, especially the beginning part with the compass, getting the initial design down, did take way longer than I thought. And one key point to remember is, while you're doing it, before you start doing this, take your paper down. And make sure you have a really good compass that is going to lock in place so it won't cause you any frustration. Because, you know, after all, this is supposed to be a Zen type project, damn it. And so now, thinking about how it's been used in such ancient times, how come it has taken so many years for it to be so popular? Because I remember when I was a kid in the 80s, growing up throughout the 80s, the 90s, early 2000s, never come across anything like this up until, I would say, early 2010s. Well, that was around the time when I first discovered it anyway. And of course, that was around the time when I would start going deeper and sort of more involved with spirituality and all that stuff. But throughout my life, I always have been drawn to all that kind of stuff anyway. So me being on this type of path is pretty much bound to happen. And look at that, as I am getting closer and closer to being done the pattern. Just a few more circles left to go. One here, one there, and here we are. Not too bad so far. Okay, so next, what we're gonna do here is we're going to, oh, love it when that happens, isn't that great? I'm sure you could imagine the colorful language that was coming out of me at that time. But anyhow, I am now doing the outer circle. I'm gonna do a double circle, so there's the inner circle. Now I'm doing the outer circle, just to give it that nice finished off look. It's obviously not finished now, but so yeah, now it's time to go over it with the pen. And so what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to speed this up a bit so that you don't get too bored. And as you can see, now I am pretty much doing it freehand, just tracing over the pencil, but trying to keep my hand as steady as I possibly can. And one thing that I've noticed while doing this was how fast time flies. And speaking of the movement of time, you ever notice how sometimes time goes a lot slower when you're doing something that's not within your purpose, and time just speeds right up when you are following your purpose more? Like, say for example, you're at a job, there's not too much going on, you're sitting at your desk or whatever, and you keep looking at the clock, and time just seems to go backwards even. And then other times you're involved with something that you enjoy, that makes your soul happy. And then that's when time just totally flies by like nothing. Which, to my understanding, is a pretty sure sign that you are on your divine purpose. You're on the path of your divine purpose. And as we all know, it's not always easy to keep on track of our divine paths. And so many distractions get in the way, such as having to find any kind of way to earn a living and survive. And for most of us, quite often ending up at jobs that we don't really want to be at. Unless you just happen to be one of those super fortunate type of people. Well, it may seem super fortunate to us common folks, but we don't really know what goes on beneath the surface. But anyway, we're all on our own unique journeys, all living our very own unique choose your own adventure, I guess. And the future is never set in stone. And if you happen to watch any creator who does psychic predictions, I can assure you there is not one of them out there who is 100% accurate. And it doesn't matter who they are, how well known they are, or popular. The future is never set in stone because we all have the gift of free will. And so that's my 2 cents on that. So anyhow, here I am, just finishing it off, the drawing part anyway, doing the outer circle. And here it comes, full circle, as they say. Now let's just erase all the pencil drawing while we start to get ready for the fun part. And so what I'm using here is some water-soluble pencil crayons. Starting off with blue in the middle, and what I'm using right there is a pen with a brush that you can fill with water. You can use that as a water brush. So here I am painting water onto the water-soluble pencil crayon where I just colored. And so, you know, after I have done this, I don't think I am going to be using water-soluble pencil crayons again after this, because it's just twice as much work. I could have done this in half the time with just straight up watercolor paints, but because I just seem to be the type of person to take the long way around, and that's just kind of how I roll sometimes, so it is what it is. Okay, so now coming in with the purple. trying to make it blend with the blue. I'm sure you can only imagine how long this whole thing took me. I don't know for sure, but it took a while, to say the least. Okay, it took, with breaks here and there, it took like a couple of days because, I had other stuff to do, had to eat, had to make dinner, had to, do other things, laundry and whatnot. I had life things to do. Okay, so what shall I talk about next then, while I take twice as long coloring this as I should have? Oh yes, for the record, before I posted this video here on YouTube, I have been on a 5-month hiatus. I did make a recent video and posted it up on YouTube, sort of explaining why I have not posted anything in a while, but I ended up taking it down because it was just, I thought about it and it was just a little too personal. But yes, I was going through quite a bit, had some family emergencies and yada yada. And then I've just recently realized it's probably best not to share all that kind of stuff. But I did see that the video had some views, and whoever has viewed it, I am sorry if it may have been a bit depressing. But on the other hand, things are okay now anyways, and I'm just taking it all one day at a time. And when it comes down to it, that's pretty much all you can do, is just take it one day at a time, right? But yeah, on another note, at the time that I am recording this voiceover, this is on August 20th, 2024. We've just had the big super blue moon. And for the first time ever, I thought that I would try and make moon water. And I know that a lot of people have their different ways of doing that. So what I did was I got a mason jar, a good size mason jar. And then because it was going to rain a day or so before, I set it outside to capture some rainwater. And I caught a little bit of rainwater, but it wasn't nearly enough to fill the jar. So for the rest of the water, I boiled some tap water, added a pinch of sea salt, let it cool, and then filled up the jar. And then I added a clear quartz crystal and an amethyst crystal. And then I put it outside overnight, upside down, so that it would capture the moon energy. And unfortunately, we had a cloudy night from where I'm at. But apparently you can, even though it is cloudy, you can still make moon water that will carry the full moon energy. So yeah, I had the jar sitting upside down in the grass on the front yard. And then before the sun came up early this morning, I went out there and brought it back inside. And then after that, I made a spray. I put some in a spray bottle so I could just spray myself with it. I find it, well, this being the very first time I have ever used moon water, and because it was sitting outside in the grass and all that stuff, it felt very grounding. Like I sprayed my crown chakra and just kind of all over my auric field. And it just seemed like a good balance of being grounded, yet also more connected in a way. It's really hard to describe. But anyhow, that's what I did. All right, it looks like I have got most of the inside done, colored up now. So now I'm just gonna take the time and brush the water to give it the watercolor paint feel, or watercolor paint appearance. And although this did take quite a long time, it was kind of therapeutic to just the process itself, you know. And so, what else can I talk about while I make this piece look like a watercolor painting? Right. So, aside from the moon water, I also performed a little ritual with a few candles and herbs and some notes on some paper with some affirmations and something that I wanted to manifest, because the energy of that full moon just seemed really important, and apparently the full blue supermoon that we had is pretty much like a once in a lifetime deal. Apparently there's not going to be another one for another 30 or so years. And me being at the age of almost 50, I figured that I may as well take as much advantage of that as I could. So that is what I did. And the type of ritual that I did was, I'd say, a little more elaborate. Actually, probably the most elaborate ritual I've ever done before. And it did take me quite some time to prepare, because lately, well, for one thing, I've just got a newfound interest in learning more about herbs and using them for magic and rituals and the like. So I was picking out the types of herbs that I wanted to use, the colors of candles, the crystals. So yeah, I guess you could say I was getting super witchy with it. I had some music going on. I had a couple of my other altars lit up, and I pretty much went for it and just about went the whole 9 yards, and it was great. Alright, so here I go, adding some more color on the inside, using the warmer colors, some lemon yellow and light orange. Pardon my crackly voice. Okay, is that better? Yeah. Lime green. You see, I was using some pink there. You know, doing this was actually kind of fun. Because it brought out my inner child in a way, you know? Like, man, when I was a young kid growing up, I would spend, well, if I wasn't outside in nature talking to my imaginary friends, I would be inside just spending the rest of my free time just doing stuff like this. And I don't know why I don't do this more often, to tell you the truth. Alright, so here I come with my trusty water brush pen again. And you know what? Because I was getting sick and tired of using that pen, I thought, screw it, I am going to use a glass of water and a brush like a normal person. Well, actually, the water pen is a nice idea, but just a good old-fashioned brush and glass of water is still so much easier. And would you look at that? I'm just about done. Not quite there yet, but getting there. And so you see, this is how valuable patience is. Just like how the finest wines and cheeses are made, or that timeless classic piece of music that never gets old, or that movie that has made such an impact that remains still well known decades later. And finally, there's most of it done. Now to do the outside. And by this point, because I've been using the same medium, the water-soluble pencil crayons, I am using the same thing on the outside. I guess I probably could have left it the way it was, but I didn't want to. I wanted to have some more color on the outside, and I thought that was okay. I don't know if you think that's okay, but I thought it was okay at the time, so I just went for it. But still, at this point, in all honesty, I was really regretting using these pencil crayons, okay? And again, this is the very last time I am ever going to use pencil crayon watercolors. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you do feel so inclined, please feel free to check out my Redbubble, where you can find this image that is available on selected merch, including coasters, where you can put your drink on and you'll charge up your drink or your tea or your water that way, and other wonderful things as well. Check out the link down below for that, and thanks again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video.